correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there's no female Navy SEALs. I could be wrong, but operating under that assumption, because I had someone tell me no woman has ever completed Navy SEAL training. Okay. Operating under that assumption, they announced they were going to be getting rid of gendered language in the Navy SEALs. Why? I don't know, but that's weird. Well, Donald Trump is pushing back. You see, Donald Trump has banned critical race theory, and he's taken more moves against the fringe racist and sexist ideology, and it's resulted in people losing contracts and losing money. And now the anti-woke liberal sect is cheering for this, and good for them. I find myself in a similar position. Check this out. Donald Trump says he will overturn ridiculous order, removing the words brotherhood and man from U.S. Navy SEAL ethos and replacing them with gender neutral terms. I can't. I gotta read this one for you. Come on, man. The Navy SEALs, dude. Look, I know this is not something the left wants to hear, but men tend to have more muscle mass. Men tend to be taller. Men tend to have more collagen in their skin. Men tend to have denser bones. That's okay. There's a lot of reasons why men tend to be more physically fit for combat scenarios. Women can do combat too. But here's the issue. There's not that many Navy SEALs. We're talking the best of the best. The best of the best of the best. There you go. That means that if you've got millions of dudes and millions of women, there's a bell curve. And if we only need 100 or however many Navy SEALs there are, I don't know the actual number. I'm just saying, if you need a small amount, it's going to be all dudes. I'm not trying to be mean. You know, if women can pass the test, they can do it. But when we're talking combat, it's just the way it's going to be. Donald Trump said Thursday he will overturn the ridiculous order of removing the words brotherhood and man from the U.S. Navy SEAL ethos. In a tweet responding to the news, the president wrote, "I will be overturning this ridiculous order immediately." Hear. The Navy has removed gendered words from its official SEAL ethos, changing them to citizen and warrior. Alterations have also been made in the Special Warfare Combatant Crewman, CREED, American Military News reported. One change in the first paragraph of the SEAL ethos now reads, "I am that warrior." It had read, "I am that man." I got to be honest. I actually like warrior better, like to be completely like real. In other states, common citizens with uncommon desire to succeed. That did say a common man with uncommon desire to succeed. I actually don't care too much about them changing the gendered language. I just think it's weird they would do it when the Navy SEALs are all dudes. You know what I mean? I actually do like warrior better than I am that man. Because like, I feel like there's a lot of people are man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a man. I am a man. I am not a Navy SEAL though. You know what I mean? And I'm not really a warrior, I guess, in the combat sense. But to be fair, I don't understand why it is we're coming to this point where very clearly gendered groups would change the gender out of the group. You know what I mean? Whatever. Let's read. In the ethos, quote, "The ability to control my emotions and my actions, regardless of circumstance, sets me apart from other men," has been changed to "the ability to control my emotions and my actions, regardless of circumstances, sets me apart from others." And that's really weird, right? And brave men has been amended to read brave SEALs. It's so dumb. In the SWCC Creed, brotherhood was switched to a group of maritime warriors. In another sentence, brothers is changed to them. That's so dumb. Drain the Pentagon swamp. The move sparked fury from disgraced ex-SEAL Eddie Gallagher, who labeled it a joke. Gallagher was acquitted of murdering the ISIS prisoner following a high-profile trial, which saw Donald Trump wade into the debate. Navy Special Warfare spokesperson Lieutenant Commander Matthew Strope said, "The previous versions of the SEAL ethos and SWCC Creed were written prior to the law allowing women to serve as operators in naval special warfare." Stroop added, "The changes do not in any way reflect lowering standards of entry. Rather, they ensure that all those who meet the requirements to train to become a SEAL or SWCC are represented in the ethos or creed they live out." Now, to be fair, I think there will come a time when a woman does, get in, and then it will be weird if she is like, "I'm a man." It's like, well, no, So maybe that's why they needed to consider it. I'm not going to play some ultra traditionalist game where I'm like, never change the language, all language. No, hold on. I actually don't care. I really don't. I do think if the standard is set as such that you likely will never have, co-ed, mixed gender Navy SEAls, then maybe it's probably a little over the top. And I don't think it needs to be made into a big deal or anything. That's why I'm saying I don't understand why they would just outright change it. Maybe they should change it if/when women actually get into the Navy SEALs, Stroop added that it doesn't, okay, read that part. Here we can see this. There's actually a bunch of changes to gendered language. This improves the posture of the NSW force by ensuring we draw from the greatest pool of talent available. In 2015, then Defense Secretary Ash Carter ordered the military to open all military jobs to women, including the most dangerous commando posts. Now, why would they do that, right? Look, I understand the general idea. Actually, you know what? No, I get it. It's not even look, if we're dealing with war and we need as many able-bodied individuals as possible, then I think it's dumb to have an arbitrary rule keeping women out. If women can get in and they can pass the test, they should be allowed to do it. That's equal opportunity. There are concerns about how men and women behave on the battlefield around each other that maybe we should consider. That might be an issue. So look, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on gender interactions or anything like that, but I will throw it to Jordan Peterson. In an interview with Vice, he talked about how it's only recently, in the past generation, that we've actually had men and women working together. And he said it's been a disaster. Now, what does that mean? It's been a disaster. Well, I see his point. There's been a lot of sexual harassment lawsuits, like a lot. And women have complained that men don't treat them fairly. They don't get promotions. And that is a really good point. But I don't know what the solution is. Segregation, that doesn't make sense. Telling women they can doesn't make sense either. We need equality under the law. And if we have equality under the law, then in the military, we should allow anyone able to actually pass the test to get in. I do think what we need to be careful of, however, is affirmative action. Because what worries me about this change is that we'll eventually get to the point where some feminist says something like, why aren't there any women? It's because you're sexist. Therefore, they'll be forced to admit some women even though they don't pass. Then we're going to have really weak Navy SEALs. It's not about women being weak. It's about lowering standards, which I have personally seen in like the fire department and policing jobs. These things have happened. We want to avoid that. So we have to make sure that if there is a change in standard, then we have to, a change in who's allowed to serve in certain roles, the standards are maintained. Now, I know several people who served in the Army, and they've all told me the same thing. When it came to basic training, the women were pampered. Yeah, man. So I know some people, I know a lot of people who went through basic, and they told me that the women would cry and then refuse, and they would say, yeah, fine, whatever. I kid you not. Now, that could just be anecdotal for sure. But the guys were made to there are biological reasons why I was told this is the case. When women are crawling around in the mud all day, they could potentially get, medical issues. And so they required access to, more hygiene than the men were. I was told by a bunch of dudes that their PTs would all be, just covered in dirt and grime. And they said, you don't get to wash it. You got to wear it again tomorrow. So what? Wear the dirty clothes. Deal with it. Welcome to the real world. Whereas the women could complain and they had to allow it. I don't know if they had to, but they ended up doing it. Here's my concern. Assuming that's true, and I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's what I was told by people I know who, served and went through basic training. Assuming that's true, you could end up with women who go through basic, whine and complain, and then at some point find themselves being allowed into very serious combat roles where they're ill prepared. Now, I'm not going to say that's a threat to anybody but themselves. If you enter combat and you don't have the same training or capabilities as somebody else, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. We have to make sure the standards are maintained. Donald Trump says he's going to overturn this. Maybe it's the right move. Maybe it's not. I think it's fair to say there are circumstances where gendered language is absurd. I think it's also fair to say that there are circumstances where it's stupid that we have gendered language. I don't know if the Navy SEALs is one of those circumstances, though. Let's take a look at the NFL, NBA, MLB. There's no rule banning women from major league sports. They just never make it in because men tend to be better at physical activities for a variety of reasons. Better in terms of the rules we've set, no doubt. There are certain scenarios where they say women can do better, particularly with where, women have different center of gravity and things like that. And it's possible that at some point, like in the NFL, a woman can become a kicker because there have been women who've done really, really well. But even when you have major league sports, women are allowed to play in, but they just can't get in. Then what's going to happen with the Navy SEALs? Does it make sense to change the language, thinking at some point someone might do it? If you can't get a woman to even, compete against men in basketball, wouldn't that say something about, failure of the training for the Navy SEALs? if the standards are that much lower. We're talking about men who have to, I don't know, kill Osama bin Laden, right? We're talking about men who have to go and do some of the craziest and most intense combat jobs. And they're going to need tremendous physical strength and density and, discipline. And women can do a lot of those things, but can they compete with the top tier, best of the best men in combat? I'm going to go and say no, man. I'm going to throw to Joe Rogan when he said men have bigger joints, bigger hands, their striking power is stronger. While that doesn't mean every single man that women themselves should be barred, it just means I have to say I think the likelihood that a woman actually gets in is probably on par with the likelihood we see a woman in the NFL, which is almost none unless they become a kicker. Equality under the law. Women should be allowed to serve if they can pass the test, but we cannot lower our standards. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you all so much for hanging out, and I will see you all next time.